Welcome to the TechLifeWell Podcast with your hosts, Theo, Hale, and Aria Wells. Happy Friday, February 27th. Let's end the week smarter, calmer, and more connected.
It is great to be here. And honestly, looking at the stack of research we have today, I think we are definitely going to hit smarter and connected. I'm not entirely sure about the calmer part, though.
Yeah, calm might be a bit of a stretch if you happen to be a copyright lawyer right now or, a working musician. Because today we are exploring the reality that Google has officially handed everyone a high-fidelity music studio right inside their pockets.
Right.
It's called Lyria 3. It's live in the Gemini app as of this month, and it is honestly kind of mind-blowing. You type a text prompt, and out comes a completely original song. Vocals, lyrics, instruments, the whole package. So we are going to look at how this new tool actually works, who owns the music you make with it, and the massive legal questions swirling around AI innovation and digital wellness right now.
It really is a massive technical leap. I mean, we aren't talking about those early days of AI audio where you'd get some abstract noise or a weird fuzzy instrumental loop.
No, not at all.
We are talking about fully structured tracks generated from a single sentence. But as fun as the tool is, the context around it is incredibly heavy. We have the U.S. Copyright Office releasing massive reports on how these models are trained, and we have new transparency laws kicking in from the EU.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive is to figure out if the fair use defense regarding AI training is finally starting to crack under the weight of all this generated content.
It's the era of the 30-second symphony, and it brings up some very complicated questions about ownership, creativity, and the law.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with the user experience, the toy box aspect. Before we get into the heavy legal headaches, I've been playing with Lyria 3 in Gemini, and the barrier to entry is literally zero.
Yeah.
You just open the app, provided you're over 18, and you just tell it what you want to hear.
And just to be clear on the scope here for everyone listening, this isn't a limited beta anymore, right? This is a global rollout.
Right. It's global, English, German, Spanish, French, Hindi. It's a really wide net. And the prompts you can use are just oddly specific. I was reading through the release notes, and Google gives this example that really stuck out to me.
Oh, the plantain one?
Yes. The prompt is literally, I'm feeling nostalgic. Create a track for my mother about the great times we had as kids and the memories of her home-cooked plantains. Make it a fun Afrobeat track with a true African vibe.
That is incredibly specific. Usually with these models, you expect it to handle the genre, the Afrobeat part.
Yeah.
But does it actually handle the lyrical content about the plantain?
It does, and that's the huge shift. Unlike previous versions where maybe you had to write the poetry yourself, Lyria 3 generates the lyrics based on that mood. It's also doing the vocals.
Right.
You can ask for an airy female soprano or a raspy rocker, and it attempts to match that emotional timbre.
What's fascinating to me from a technical standpoint is the multimodal aspect. We are so used to text to something, but this is moving way beyond that.
Oh, this is the coolest part. You can upload a photo or a video. They showed this demo where you upload a video of a dog hiking in the woods, just a silent clip. And Gemini analyzes the visual data.
It sees the context.
Exactly. It sees trees, movement, happy dog, and it composes a track to match that specific visual mood. It's like having a film scorer in your pocket.
Which makes perfect sense when you look at the constraints. The output is currently capped at 30 seconds. It's not trying to write a symphony. It's trying to score a moment.
30 seconds, which feels really short until you realize where we actually live online.
Exactly. This isn't trying to replace the 3-minute pop radio single yet. This is targeting the shorts and reels economy. It's intro music, it's background noise for a tutorial, it's a sting for a video. It is functional music.
Speaking of functional, we have to talk about the packaging, because when you generate a track, it doesn't just give you a generic file icon, it gives you a custom album cover. And the AI model making that art had a name that I just have to appreciate the whimsy.
You are talking Nano Banana.
Nano Banana.
Yeah.
It's such a tech industry curveball. It's a dedicated image generation model just for these track covers. So you get your Afrobeat plantain song, and Nano Banana makes you a nice little graphic to go with it.
It sounds funny, and it is, but it serves a very specific purpose. It adds a layer of polish that makes the whole package feel very shareable. It feels like a finished product, not a rough draft.
Right.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, that slickness, that shareability is exactly where the anxiety comes from. If you can generate a realistic sounding song with realistic art in seconds, How do you distinguish what is real?
That's the big fear, right? Deepfakes. Audio that sounds like a politician or a celebrity saying something they never actually said, or just the flooding of the internet with synthetic noise.
Google is clearly aware of this. They are leaning heavily on a technology called SynthID to mitigate that risk.
I've seen that mentioned. Is it just a watermark? Like a visual stamp on the audio file?
It is a watermark, but for audio, and importantly, it is imperceptible to the human ear. It's not a beep or a tag at the end. It's embedded directly into the waveform itself. What is impressive is that it is designed to survive manipulation.
Manipulation, like what? Like editing the file?
Like compression. If you take that high-quality AI file and crunch it down into a low-quality MP3, or if you speed it up for a social media video or add background noise, the SynthID watermark should still be detectable by their software.
So theoretically, you can upload a weird clip you found on the internet to Gemini and ask, hey, did you make this?
That is the idea. Verification is becoming a user-facing feature. But we have to be realistic here. This isn't just Google doing this out of the kindness of their hearts or because they love transparency. This is compliance.
The regulators are knocking at the door.
Loudly. Specifically, we are looking at the EU AI Act. Article 50 is the heavy hitter here. It mandates transparency. If an AI system interacts with the person needs to know. If it generates synthetic content, audio, video, text feature, it has to be marked.
So that machine-readable format isn't just a nice-to-have feature, it's the law in Europe.
Precisely. And this is where the terminology gets interesting. The EU has set up working groups that categorize companies as either providers or deployers.
What's the difference there?
Think of Google as the provider. They built the model, Lyria 3. A company that uses Lyria 3 to make music for their ads would be a deployer. The EU is creating a code of practice to ensure that both sides are labeling this stuff correctly. It's about preventing deception. If a machine made it, the file needs to confess that a machine made it.
Okay, so we have the tool Lyria 3 and we have the safety watermark SynthID, but now we have to get to the elephant in the room, the music industry. Because Lyria 3 didn't learn how to make an Afrobeat track by listening to the wind in the trees. It listened to, well, probably a lot of Afrobeat.
This brings us to the legal battlefield. And battlefield is not an exaggeration. The U.S. Copyright Office, the USEO, has been releasing this multi-part report on AI. And part 3, which focuses on generative AI training, is a bit of a bombshell for the tech industry.
I read through some of the summaries, and it feels like the fair use shield that tech companies have been hiding behind is really getting dented.
It is definitely under scrutiny. For a long time, the tech argument has been that training in AI is what they call non-expressive use.
Non-expressive use. Break that down for us, because to me, music is inherently expressive.
So the legal argument that tech companies make goes like this. They say training in AI is like a student reading a library book. The student reads a fantasy novel to learn the concepts of grammar, sentence structure, and narrative arc.
Okay.
They aren't copying the book to sell it. They're learning from the book to write their own new story. Tech companies argue the AI isn't enjoying the music or expressing it. It's just analyzing mathematical patterns.
Which sounds reasonable on the surface. You know, I listened to the Beatles, I learned how pop music works, now I write my own pop songs.
Right. That is the anthropomorphic argument, treating the AI like a human student. But the rights holders, the record labels, the publishers, they argue that this analogy fails completely. They say the AI isn't just learning, it is ingesting the creative expression of millions of artists to build a commercial machine that directly competes with them.
Oh, so it's the difference between a student reading a book and a photocopy machine scanning a book to print a rival book.
Exactly. And the USEO report tends to side with the creators on this specific point regarding commerciality.
Commerciality, that's the key word here.
It is a huge factor in fair use analysis. The report suggests that if an AI model is used to generate music that effectively substitutes for human musicians, the commercial nature of that use weighs heavily against the AI companies. If you are training on my music to build a robot that puts me out of a job, the Copyright Office is saying that is likely not fair use.
That seems like a massive shift. I mean, isn't that a direct shot at the business model of some of these generative music startups?
It is. And we are seeing this play out in court right now. The RIAA has lawsuits active against companies like Suno and Udio. Those are the real-world tests of this theory. The courts haven't fully decided yet, but the Copyright Office is signaling that the fair use defense is on very shaky ground when the output competes with the input.
But usually, the tech companies have a counter-argument. They say, well, if you don't want your music in there, just tell us. The opt-out method. Fill out this form and we'll remove your songs.
And the USEO report specifically addresses that. They basically said, Opt-out is too burdensome for artists.
Too burdensome. How so?
Imagine being an independent musician. There are dozens of new AI models popping up every month. Do you have the time to chase down every single new startup, find their email and say, please don't use my songs? It's a game of whack-a-mole you can't win.
That makes sense.
The report recognizes that putting the burden on the creator to hide their work is unfair. It suggests the burden should be on the company to get permission.
So if fair use is shaky and opt-out is too hard, what's the solution? Just shut it all down.
No, the solution is the oldest one in the book: money, licensing. The report points out that licensing markets are already forming. We have seen settlements, like with Universal Music Group. We have seen models like Adobe Firefly or Shutterstock that claim to be trained on licensed or public domain data.
Right. They pay for it.
Yes. The USCO is essentially saying a market exists, you can pay for the data, so you should pay for the data.
That makes perfect sense. If you can buy the ingredients, you shouldn't steal the groceries. But let's flip this to the user side. Let's say you use Lyria 3. You type in 90s skate punk track about telling my roommate to wash the dishes, which, by the way, is another real example Google used.
A very practical use of AI. I think we have all needed that song at some point.
Very practical. So you generate this punk masterpiece. Do you own it? Can you put it on a streaming platform and collect royalties?
This is where it gets really interesting for anyone listening right now who wants to use this. The short answer, according to the USCO report part 2, is generally no.
No. But you came up with the idea. You typed the prompt about the dirty dishes. You chose the genre. You directed the airy soprano.
The Copyright Office has been very clear. Copyright protects human authorship. A prompt, even a really long, detailed prompt about skate punk and dishcope, is considered more like giving instructions to a commissioned artist.
Instructions.
Think of it this way. If you walk up to a painter and say, paint me a sunset with a dog in the foreground, and they paint it, who owns the copyright?
The painter does.
Exactly. You just gave the instructions. In this case, the painter is a machine.
Oh, yeah.
And since machines cannot hold copyright, and you didn't execute the work yourself, nobody owns it.
So the output, the actual audio file, is public domain.
Essentially, the AI-generated portion is. Now, there is nuance here. If you take that AI track and you substantially transform it, you chop it up, you record your own actual vocals over it, you add a guitar solo you played yourself, then you might have copyright over the human-created parts.
But the raw output from Lyria 3,
You likely cannot register that. It belongs to everyone and no one.
that is going to be a shock to a lot of people thinking they're about to become the next big producer just by typing.
It raises a profound philosophical question about creativity. Is the creative act the idea, or is it the execution? The law currently says execution matters. The sweat of the brow matters.
Speaking of execution, what about imitation? I know Lyria 3 has some guardrails. If you ask it to make a song that sounds exactly like Taylor Swift, what happens?
Google says Gemini treats that as broad creative inspiration. It is designed not to mimic specific artists or clone their voices. It might give you a generic pop track with that vibe, but it won't be a clone.
That seems like a direct response to all those spread of publicity issues we've been seeing.
Absolutely. And it's important to distinguish this from copyright. Copyright is about the song composition, the notes and lyrics. But the USCO report part 1 focused entirely on digital replicas. This is about the right of publicity. No one wants unauthorized clones of their voice singing things they never sang. That isn't even a copyright issue. That's an identity issue.
Right, because if you can make a song that sounds exactly like Taylor Swift endorsing a product she hates, that's a legal nightmare.
Exactly. So Lyria 3 is engaging in a very careful dance. It wants to give you the feel of a genre without infringing on the identity of a star.
It's a fine line. Sounds like versus is like.
And that line is exactly where the lawsuits happen. If you sound too much like a famous artist, you are borrowing their fame to sell your track.
So let's zoom out here. We have a tool that is incredible for creating quick content. Jingles, intros, background vibes. It's got Nano Banana making art and a SynthID trying to keep it honest. But underneath, the legal ground is shifting.
It is shifting from move fast and break things to pay for what you use and label what you make. The Wild West days of generative AI might be coming to a close as these regulations, the EU Act, the Copyright Office opinions, start to bite.
So what does this all mean for you right now if you are a creator, a video maker, or just someone messing around with Gemini on your phone?
It means we are entering the era of jingles at scale. The friction of creating audio is gone. You can have a custom soundtrack for every social media story you post. That is genuinely cool. But you need to understand that these tools are for use, not necessarily for ownership.
Right. Use it to enhance your content, but don't expect to build a music empire on a foundation of prompt-generated tracks that you can't even copyright.
Exactly. Use it as a tool, not a crutch. And keep an eye on those watermarks. As the EU rules kick in, seeing that generated by AI label is going to become the new normal, we need to get used to knowing where our media comes from.
It's fascinating. We are moving from a world where music was scarce and hard to make to a world where it's abundant and effortless, but maybe a little less human in the eyes of the law.
I would leave you with this thought to chew on. If AI models are trained on all of human musical history back, to Beatles to Beyonce, just to create 30-second clips that we can't even copyright, are we becoming composers? Or are we just curators of a statistical mixtape? As the USCO report notes, does this technology democratize creation, or does it compel authors to subsidize the very machines that might replace them?
That is the question that's going to define the next decade of art. We appreciate you listening. Follow the TechLifeWell podcast for future episodes and updates.